WGN News.
Well, as we reported, the Department of Justice has filed a lawsuit against the city of Chicago, state of Illinois, and Cook County over the sanctuary status. The lawsuit aims to block the local laws, which it says interfere with and discriminate against federal immigration policy. And Illinois Representative Darren LaHood is joining us now live to talk more about it. Congressman, good of you to join us here. The governor says that Illinois is in compliance with federal law and does allow for cooperation where criminal matters are at the heart of this here. I want to get your take on what is your basis for support of this lawsuit today.
Well, thanks for having me on. I mean, that's frankly not true. Why are we still having all the illegal immigrants still in Chicago? If you look at the lawsuit that was filed today in the Northern District of Illinois, it lays out in pretty clear detail, this is a violation of the Supremacy Clause. You know, the U.S. Constitution puts a number of provisions that the federal government is in charge of, protecting our borders, making sure citizens are in the country. And when they're not, that Supremacy Clause allows federal law enforcement working with local law enforcement to send those people back to their country of origin. Unfortunately, sanctuary cities, they are in dispute with the Supremacy Clause. So I'm confident with the lawsuit that's been filed today by the U.S. Department of Justice that there'll be a remedy and allow law enforcement to send those people back to their country of origin that shouldn't be in our country.
Well, as you know, there was, a difficulty the first time around for President Trump in his first administration with funding where it's concerned. Let me show you what Mayor Johnson said about this lawsuit. He wrote a number of things, but one of his primary directives there, he said, Chicago is and will remain a welcoming city with welcoming people who work beside their neighbors to build strong communities where you can still raise a family. Let me ask, why should it not remain a matter for the individual states to decide?
Well, if you notice, the mayor said nothing about the Supremacy Clause or nothing about the lawsuit. Think about this, the city has a $1 billion deficit. They have spent $300 million on illegal migrants in the city of Chicago. The state of Illinois has spent $800 million of taxpayer money on illegal immigrants. Listen, this shouldn't surprise anybody. President Trump ran on fixing our broken immigration system, fixing our broken border and the unmitigated disaster we've had there, sending criminals back to their country of origin. It shouldn't be taxpayers in Illinois, particularly when we have deficits like we do at the state and city level, paying for that. This lawsuit lays out the legal parameters for why the law should be enforced. Listen, we have a legal immigration system where you can apply to become a legal citizen. Chicago is a patchwork of beautiful immigrants that have come to this country legally, did it the right way. That's what makes Chicago and Illinois the state and city that it is. But when you jump ahead of the line and you blatantly violate the law, there has to be enforcement.
Well, while I have you, I want to talk about another topic here. 50,000 federal employees apparently said yes to the president's buyout offer, but that was far below the target here. The Trump administration says that these employees have been ripping off Americans. Is that how you see it as the president comes up with this new approach?
Well, I mean, if you look in the private sector, people that work in the private sector had to go back to their work after COVID pretty quickly to go back to being in the office and doing their job. That didn't happen in many parts of the federal government. That's been documented by both Republicans and Democrats. And so to think that they're being paid for by the taxpayers but not showing up for work, I'm glad President Trump is doing something about it. Think about this. We're $36 trillion in debt. And we're in debt because we're spending way too much money. So how do we make government more efficient, more effective, more accountable? The new DOGE Commission, Department on Government Efficiency, is working to remedy that. And so, again, if you're not showing up for work and you're getting paid a salary, there should be ramifications for not working.
And you talked about DOGE, and you've been elected to the position that you have. I have to ask, Elon Musk has been Trump's sort of trusted right-hand man lately. But he's been quietly reminded, I guess it's been reported, that his power is not unchecked. What do you think about the work that he's doing? Are you satisfied with the transparency that some say he is not putting forth?
Well, the DOGE committee is just getting off the ground here. I think they're going to come up with some great recommendations. I think looking for efficiencies in government is a good thing. obviously Elon Musk has had a lot of success in the private sector, looking at efficiencies on how we can make, again, government more efficient, more effective, more accountable to taxpayers. I think we could take a few lessons from the private sector on that. Now, that doesn't mean he has unlimited power. Of course not. There are parameters that have to be put in place. We have a role as the legislative branch to have proper oversight on the executive branch, which DOJ will work out of. I have full confidence we'll be engaged in that process of that check and balance. But again, it'd be a much different conversation if we were $36 trillion in surplus or $36 trillion in debt.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. We are out of time, but appreciate your time. Congressman Darren LaHood, thanks so much.
Thank you.